Hey everyone, it's Kong again, and you're hearing a lot from me this week, aren't you? It's always a pleasure to have this much content to talk about. So as always, I'm going to be presenting high-level overviews using these 4 criteria to help you decide whether this banner is worth your hard-earned vouchers and crystals. This time, we've got a rate-up banner featuring the launch of the latest new original characters from Act III of Langrisser Mobile's story mode, Werner von Eigl and Mariandel. This banner runs from December 23rd to January 5th, and as a rate-up banner, you have a 40% chance to get each on-banner character, with the remaining 20% of course reserved for joyous holiday surprises. So we'll get started with Werner von Eigl. He's just called Werner in the game, but I've been using his last name to differentiate him from the other Werner, Werner Dime, the motorcycle Werner. This one is Sigma, after the events of Langrisser 5. Werner is his real name, his original name, and reclaiming it kind of represents his ongoing recovery from the trauma of Gizerov. Werner is an assassin or an infantry hero who functionally acts like an assassin, whose main gimmick is his attack and counterattack stances. If you end a turn without attacking, you can choose a stance. Attack mode gives you +1 movement, +2 skill range, plus 20% damage dealt, and guard ignore. Counterattack mode gives you +1 movement, minus 35% damage taken, plus 50% counterattack damage, long distance range counter, and lets you heal 35% and ignore guard after being attacked. The best part is, since both modes come with +1 movement, the enemy doesn't know which stance you've selected, so you can set Werner up to bait attacks, and they basically have to call your bluff or avoid attacking into him. His 3-cost skill is a single target attack that lets his soldiers attack at range with him, and automatically puts you in attack mode if you net the kill, or counterattack mode if you don't. He's a great user of the new State Guard troops. He's a member of Yles Legends, buffed by Landius and Sigma, Legion of Glory, buffed by Ledin, Elwyn, and Grenier, and Meteor Strike, buffed by Zerida and Epsilon. For bonds, he unlocks the defensive bond for banner mate Mariandel, and the attack bond for upcoming new character, the Consul. For his own bonds, he needs Mariandel for his defensive bond, and he needs Claret for his attack bond. Now for content, in PvE, he's on faction for Phoenix and Scylla in the Eternal Temple, and he hasn't appeared in any top scoring teams in Ancient Beckoning. For PvP, as another assassin going into an assassin-heavy Meteor Strike meta, PvP is where he really shines. He can bait counter kills and make trades, and perhaps even more importantly, he can make the opponent think twice about even trying to attack him. Just get in their face and dare them. It goes without saying, but he needs to be well built to pull this kind of thing off. Still, he looks pretty fun. For availability, thankfully, since he's not a limited unit, he'll be going into the normal summoning pool and appearing on another banner in the future. We just don't yet know when or with whom. New characters usually show up around 6 months later, so we shouldn't expect to see him before May or June or so. Next up, we've got Mariandel. This is Lambda after the events of Langrisser 5. Mariandel is her real original name, and again, reclaiming it represents her ongoing recovery from the trauma of Gizerov. I wonder if she'll get to meet up with her bro McLean during the Act 3 story sometime. I'd like to meet up with McLean. So Mariandel's talent is kind of fun. You basically charge up her int and skill damage like a battery when your other characters use skills. She can max out at 4 talent stacks this way, and then whenever she uses a skill, she releases her stored up energy and heals everyone in the area. It's easy to see for characters like this who have interesting talent stack mechanics that when she does get a piece of exclusive equipment, it'll probably have something to do either with her accruing these stacks more quickly, or using them more efficiently, or being able to store up more of them. We'll have to see in the future. Her 3-cost skill gives her +1 unit range, +1 AoE span, and +1 line AoE distance for every 2 talent stacks. It's an AoE spell that also hits enemies with a debuff that requires them to use a skill or else they take fixed damage. She also has a single target skill that makes the victim take fixed damage if they end their turn on forest or grassland tiles. She has a 1-cost single target heal that also grants immunity effects, removes debuffs, and adds buffs. A single target spell that makes it so the enemy can't move or guard. And a self-centered AoE burst that hurts enemies and strips buffs if they're in water, while simultaneously healing allies and removing debuffs. So she's a bit of a terrain troll with some all-purpose AoE and team healing. She's a member of Yles Legends, buffed by Landius and Sigma, Princess Alliance, buffed by Luna, Shelfaniel, and Christiane, and Mythical Realm, buffed by Gizaroth and the Sage of the Trees. For bonds, she unlocks the defensive bonds for bannermate Werner, and for the new storyline freebie character Lisa. She needs Werner for her own defensive bond, and the Sage of the Trees for her attack bond. She's something of a Sage of the Trees herself. For content, in PvE, she's on faction for Leviar, where she might be dangerous because of her burst healing, and Phoenix. She's also technically on faction for Needhogg and Fenrir, but I haven't seen her make a splash in any high-scoring teams there. For PvP, unlike some other characters, I hesitate to say she's designed specifically for PvP. She's just a decent all-round mage and healer combo. She's not going to be totally off-the-rails OP like some of the PvP-specific characters, but she will be good if you put her in the right box and know specifically what you want to use her for. If she fills a need in your team, then she can do her thing for you. For availability, again, new characters usually show up around 6 months later, so we shouldn't expect to see her before May or June or so. Unfortunately, with our schedule being pushed forward by a few weeks, we're probably going to lose the ability to see what new banners new characters will appear on before these episodes get released. So sorry about that in advance. Okay, so here are the notes for Noobs. Werner is a strong assassin coming into the game at a time when strong assassins are strong. If you do PvP, you might want to secure a copy. Mariandel is a decently solid all-purpose healing mage, the kind you might find helpful if you're concerned about clearing general-purpose PvE content. Other than that, and being used for bonds for an important character Werner and a free character Lisa, I wouldn't say she's a must-summon. And finally, this is when I would normally be giving you a reminder about upcoming banners, but again, there's not a ton of sense in looking at upcoming banners quite yet. At least not until we get a sense of how this update is going to settle. There should at least be an Ares and Lucretia banner coming in the near future, as well as a Hilda and Epsilon banner, so there are opportunities to pick up some strong meta units, if you have any resources left after this week. Alright, so that'll be it for this episode. I hope you found this video and these summaries helpful enough to warrant a little thumbs up, and more importantly, I hope you all have a happy and safe set of solstice-adjacent holidays. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next Should You Summon. Extra special thanks, of course, to our Langrisser tier channel members for generously supporting the channel directly. Levitt, Derek Gunderson, William Householder, Kate Soon, Jared Portela, Eden Seal, Shara Ilimerius, and Titan Bradicus. Thank you so much, folks.